Hello, everyone. I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boom Shikha, and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support. In this one, I wanted to speak to you about a question that someone asked about, how do you actually learn about oneself? Like, how does one learn about who they are, what they're all about? What do you do in order to go about learning about yourself? And kind of has been a lifelong tradition for me or a lifelong process of learning about myself. So I guess just being asked that question seemed like, oh, right, okay, cool. Let me go back and figure out how I did it. Um, and a couple of things that I wanted to mention that came to me almost instantaneously as two things that I want to speak about are going back to your history and finding patterns. And this is something that I still do all the time. It's such an important thing to do that I can't emphasize enough how important it is. Because what happens for most people, and I noticed this in my friends, the way they speak about things, I'll notice that a friend of mine will be speaking about the same thing she spoke about, has been speaking about for the last 3 years. The same conversation topic, the same problems, the same issues, the same things happening over and over again. Different people obviously are involved in it. So if she's having relationship troubles of the same kind, it's not she's having relationship troubles with the same person, but she's having relationship troubles with of the same kind with different people. So it seems like it's different, but it's not. It's the same kind of issue over and over again. Or one of my girlfriends is constantly having issues and fights with her sister, and it's the same kind of fight over and over again. And this has been happening since I've known her, and I've known her for 4 years now. It's the same kind of fight over and over again. And the same kind of resolution happens as well. Oh, we're going to go to therapy. Same kind of resolution, same kind of fight, repeated over and over again, but no, it's like we're not moving forward. Same thing in my life as well, the same kind of patterns. I'll end up falling for the same kind of people, or I'll end up getting the same kind of jobs, or I'll end up making the same kind of financial mistakes, or things like that. And the same pattern. Because what's happening is that we're not going back to our history, we're not looking at historical data, and we're not learning from it. We're not looking at the patterns, and we're not learning from it. So we just keep on repeating the same pattern over and over again because that's how the universe teaches us. The universe sends us these patterns over and over again. And, it's like, all right, you have a life lesson to learn here. But if you don't learn it, I'm going to send it to you over and over and over again until you learn it. And then once you're done with this life lesson, I have this other life lesson for you. And I'm going to send that to you over and over again until you learn that. And that's how it goes until I don't know, we reach enlightenment or something. But as I said, in most cases, what we do is we don't look at historical data. We pretend or assume that we're completely different people, and so we don't need to look at our historical. I was a completely different person back then. I didn't make the same mistakes that I do now. I mean, come on, I can't look back at where I was 18. I'm 37 now. I'm a completely different individual. I've grown up. I'm so mature now. That's what I tell myself. And then, I'll kind of do a little bit of journaling, I'll analyze, or I'll even go back to my old journals and I'll read the stuff that's in there. And it's exactly the same things that I'm going through right now. Exactly, almost on point, the same things that I'm going through right now. Obviously, I haven't learned. Obviously, I'm not moving forward. I mean, I moved forward a little bit because obviously it's not completely the same. I would say maybe 90%. So maybe I've learned 10% of it that I was supposed to. But I'm still making the same mistakes over and over again. And I'm still thinking about the same things over and over again. As you probably have heard the stat before that I don't know if it's 90% or something like that. 90% of the thoughts we have are the same from day to day. So you've probably, what you're thinking about right now is our thoughts that you've thought about yesterday and the day before and the day before that. So basically we form the shell around ourselves of our life, we call it, and we pretend like it's a different life every single day, but it's not. It's the same thoughts, the same kind of ideas, the same patterns, the same thinking, the same relationships over and over and over and over again, and we pretend like we're living a different life every single day, or we're living a different life from year to year or month to month. And we're actually not really. We're just living the same life with the same thoughts over and over again. And it happens because we don't actually go back. We don't actually go back to analyze, to look at our previous thoughts or to look at our previous experiences to say, okay, So I had this experience. Actually, I've had this experience 3 or 4 times already. What can I learn from it so that I can move on from that experience and have another experience? I'm not saying that you're gonna completely stop having experiences and then you're gonna stop making mistakes. Obviously, once, as I said, once you learn from that particular lesson and it's finished, it's done, you can kind of check it off for the universe. Then the universe will send you something else, and then you'll keep on making that mistake or that pattern over and over again, and then eventually you'll learn from that, and then maybe you'll move on, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll repeat it over and over again until you die, and then you'll go on to the next life, and maybe you'll do it in the next life, and finally you'll learn it in the next life after that. So sometimes it does take several lifetimes for us to learn a lesson. That's okay. What I'm saying is that it's better, if you want to learn about yourself, to go back to historical data, to really dig deep into it and to figure out what your patterns are. And one great way to do it, obviously, is through journaling. But another astounding way, or uncomfortable way, I would say, is to ask people around you, especially people who've known you for a long time. Now, of course, this is something that's so difficult, and I can imagine it's difficult because it's difficult for me as well to ask people, okay, so what do you think? What do you think my mistakes are? What do you think are the things I do constantly? What are the patterns that you notice in my life, right? And I know that I've done this in the past. I've asked people, and when they said, because people can, as an objective observer from the outside, and they can see you so clearly, as I can see my friends' patterns so clearly, they can see my patterns very clearly as well, and they tell me. And, obviously one of them has to do with relationships, another one has to do with running away from things, another one has to do with money patterns that I have, or money blocks I have. And so these are the 3 or 4 things I know I repeat over and over again, and I know if I have a conversation with someone who knows me well, they will say the same thing. And again, you might be like, well, no, they don't know me, they don't know, no one knows me, blah, blah, blah. You might kind of go into that tirade. But the truth is that in a lot of cases, with regards to patterns at least, they can see it more clearly than you can. And so just ask them. Ask a person that you trust so that they, you can trust them not to exaggerate, and ask them what your patterns are. And then, 1 or 2 patterns that you think that they're right about, kind of look into it a bit further. Go deeper into it and figure out, okay, why am I making the same mistakes over and over again? What is it that's causing me to do this? What lesson am I supposed to learn that I'm not learning, or I'm refusing to learn? What comfort zone am I in that I refuse to get out of? What belief system do I have that I should let go because it's false, it doesn't apply anymore, but I keep on picking it up and carrying it with me everywhere I go? As I said, as soon as you start looking back, asking questions, noticing patterns, and then learning the lessons that you're supposed to learn, that's when I think the true learning about oneself happens. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's not going to take a long time. In fact, it might take you a lifetime. And I'm not saying that it's going to be fast. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are looking for quick fixes. They don't want to spend a lifetime learning about themselves. They want to spend 2 days in a weekend workshop learning about themselves, and then that's it. I'm done. I know everything about myself. Now I can just move on and live my life. That's not really how it works because, as I said, patterns keep on developing, new patterns come, old patterns crop up again. Some patterns die, some new patterns come up again and again and again, or they change a little bit or transmute. Or, things are always changing. It's in flux. You're in flux. The life is in flux. Patterns are in flux, and so things are constantly going to be changing, and you have to stay on top of all of it. The only way you can stay on top of it is if you keep on asking questions, if you keep on journaling, if you keep on staying alert and conscious through everything that happens. Because as I said, a lot of us kind of zombify ourselves as well. We're like, all right, I know about myself, I know who I am, and that's it. That's it. I don't ever need to do the questioning again because I know. And I'm never going to change because this is who I am. Which is, of course, not the truth. You're going to change a lot over your lifetime. And in fact, things that you might have learned about yourself when you were 18 might be different, might be the same, might be completely different, who knows. And you have to constantly, the only way you're going to know is if you constantly ask questions, constantly look at historical data, constantly look at patterns, constantly learn the lessons that are required, constantly move forward instead of staying in your comfort zone. these are some of the things I wanted to mention. Again, as I said, not easy, extremely difficult to do, takes a lot of time, but so imperative. It's absolutely imperative, absolutely crucial that we do these things in order to keep on moving forward. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck in that little bubble of ours. And we're going to keep on making the same mistakes, wondering, why do I keep on making the same, why do I keep on meeting the same guys? Why do I keep on getting fired from the same kind of jobs? You know, things like that. So that's what I want you to be aware of. If you have questions, let me know and I shall do a follow-up video. It is a complicated subject, so if you didn't understand what I was talking about, let me know as well. I'll try to clarify it. And again, thank you so much for watching, for being on my channel, for everything. I'm really, really grateful, and I shall see you the next time around. Bye for now.